Welcome to Reddit Reader. What is the worst thing that's happened to one of your friends? A few winters back, my friend was driving and merged uphill onto an interstate overpass. He hit a patch of black ice on the ramp and went into a skid. His truck ended up slamming parallel into the guardrail, and he wasn't wearing his seatbelt. He's a big dude, college football player at the time, and the force of the impact sent him clean through the driver door and off the overpass. He fell 40 feet and landed on the highway below that he had just left. Amazingly, no spinal or cerebral damage, but basically the whole left side of his body was shattered. Pelvis, elbow, 5 ribs were all broken, huge hole in his diaphragm, torn urethra. He was in a bad way. 3 weeks of medically induced coma, and 8 procedures later, he pulled through. 8 months after that, the madman made it back on the football field for his senior year of college. Practically a cyborg at that point with all the hardware in his body. Doctors are pretty sure he only lived because he was in such good shape at the time of the accident. He always wears a seatbelt now, as should you. I was on a Skype call in 2014 with a friend I had met when I was at school in Japan. She casually brought up that she hadn't heard from her dad in a couple of weeks after he went on a work trip to the Middle East. He was a journalist, and this was when ISIS was at its height. A few months later, a video of him being held hostage by ISIS was released on Facebook. After the Japanese government failed to coordinate an effect exchange agreement with the Turkish government in time, a video of him being beheaded was released. My friend later told me that she forced herself to watch the video. Went swimming in a lake and got tangled in a bunch of weeds and drowned. R.I.P. Dan. When I was 9, I went fishing with my friend's family for the first time. We were in a mostly unused boat dock in the Colorado River. I remember being pretty upset that it wasn't large enough for us to both swim and fish in, so we settled on just fishing because the adults said so. The first catch of the day surprises me. I wasn't even paying attention. My rod almost jerks out of the sand before I catch it, and all the adults surround me cheering me on. A little bit passes, and I can't reel this thing in. A few adults try to no avail. It's clearly stuck on something. One of the adults goes up the ramp to where the cars are parked and runs back down to us freaking out. I don't catch what he says. But instead of going fishing, me and my 3 friends are taken for ice cream. It's great. Best fishing trip ever. Even if I never got to see the fish I caught. Turns out, the fish I caught was the dead body of a missing swimmer who was training for the Olympics, and somehow got caught in the reeds before being able to return to shore. I was in the newspaper of our little town and not even told about it for years. I've never gone fishing again. I had a friend who I went through elementary school and middle schools with. He moved away in the middle of 7th grade, and our friend group was heartbroken, but figured we'd see him again. Last week, he was shot in the head by his friend who was showing him a gun and pointed it at him as a joke. He was 18. One of my friends was sliding down a railing that was next to a ground storm drain made of concrete. He slipped backwards and cracked his skull open. It was near midnight and we were pretty close to a hospital, so I just kind of picked him up and ran. I hope I never see the inside of someone's head up close again. Edit. Since people keep asking me if my friend is still alive, he is, and is doing much better. Don't forget to like this video if you liked it, dislike if you disliked it, and subscribe so you don't miss our next upload.